Thanks for joining me today. Me and my dog. Anyway, we're going to be just giving you an update. This is kind of a winter update, how stark my backyard looks. I have so many fruit trees. I have so much growing out here, but in the winter, everything goes bare. So I just want to show you some of the challenges that I've had over the last couple months with my little bed over here that I have my roses and herbs in. I had a gopher which just did so much damage. First he started in the lawn, then he got in my rose bed, then he got in my herb garden, then he actually ended up in the front yard. I caught him last week, but I left some traps in just in case he's got a family. I don't want those gophers doing any more damage. So these are my 3 rose bushes. They need a little bit of attention. Some of them are starting to, they've got some buds, and we'll be getting some new roses pretty soon, but you can see these, I think they're called dark beauties. They've kind of all opened up. I don't really have any, this kind of shows you like the color of the rose. They're just really, just kind of a dark, unusual color. This is actually the herb garden that I was able to catch the gophers in. I've still got 2 of these gopher hawk traps in here. I haven't caught anything for several days, so I think they're gone, but I'm going to leave them there for a little while. This is some oregano, thyme. You can see all this gopher damage. I mean, he ate up all my mint before I realized there was a problem. And then I guess he went under my concrete. And this is an area over here. He started working on the front yard. This is my Fuji apple tree. It's actually a big tree. I planted this about 5 years ago, and I've actually grafted several other kinds of apples on here. I've got some Granny Smith that do really well. That was actually a tree I took out of my yard, but I still wanted some Granny Smith apples. So I did a graft right here. I mean, I did several throughout the tree. They all took. It was really a good situation with the apple tree. But you can see it really leaves the yard looking a lot different. This is a pluot tree. I only planted this a couple years ago, but I already get quite a few pluots from it. It's a mix between an apricot and a plum. This is my European plum tree. I actually cut it way back this year. I'm hoping I get so much fruit from this tree. So in all honesty, if I get less fruit this year, that would be just fine with me. A lot of it, I just can't even give it away. It's a heavy producing tree. And then over here, I've got a pomegranate tree. Now this particular tree, I am actually going to take out. When I bought this pomegranate tree, I thought that it was just a regular red seed pomegranate. It's not. It's like a mix between a white and a pink seed. They're almost like, I don't know, they just don't taste real good. I've tried to make them into jam, just eating them plain. So I'm gonna have this taken out in the next month. And I think what I'm going to do is plant a grapefruit tree here. I really would like a nice grapefruit tree in my backyard. This is an orange nectarine tree. I don't know the exact name. Actually, I see there's still a little tag on it. Maybe I can get the name for you. It's a double delight nectarine. Now this is a heavy producing tree. And looking at it right now, I can see it's already got a ton of buds on it. So I think this is gonna have another year with a ton of nectarines. And these are so good. This is a fairly new tree also, but it is just a heavy producer. Every year I've had this tree, I've always got a ton of nectarines. And right next to it, I've got a white nectarine. Now this nectarine tree is very small, but shockingly, I get a lot of nectarines from it. This tree right here is an Alberta peach. Now last year I didn't get a lot of peaches, maybe 20 peaches, I don't know. The year before I got a ton of them. but I can see it's got a lot of buds this year. I'm hoping, because it's one of my favorite trees, I'm hoping I get more peaches this year from this particular tree. This is another heavy producing tree. This is a Hancock peach. It's a white peach, extremely sweet peaches. And they're not good for canning, but they're great for freezing. They're wonderful for eating fresh. They just have a little bit different taste. They're extremely sweet, but they just taste a little different than the yellow peaches do. And as you can see, this tree is really healthy. It's really doing well. And this beast right here is my Katy apricot. This, every year, no matter what, is a huge producer. I get so many apricots from this tree. I love these apricots. Are nice size. They're super delicious. I did trim this, but now that everything's kind of growing, I can see there's some limbs that are kind of crossing over. So as soon as the buds open, I may come out and maybe cut just a couple more of these branches. But this is a huge producer. I get hundreds of apricots off this tree. This is a little swing that my son built for me. I love this swing. I actually stained it last year. And this little itty bitty miniature peach tree is called a pixie peach. You can see it's very small. You would be shocked, absolutely shocked, how many peaches I get off this tree. I probably get 200 peaches off this tree, and they're big peaches. Honestly, I don't know how they do it, but look at each one of these branches. Look at how many buds come out of these branches. I don't know if you can see those real good. And it's just an unbelievable producer. Here, let me show you down here. Look at this. Put it against my hand. Look at that. Unbelievable. This is such a good tree. I freeze, jams. I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful tree. I would recommend this tree to anybody. My little pixie peach. What are you doing over here, huh? And these are a couple avocado trees that I planted the year before last. Now this one here, I didn't get any avocados at all from. And there are two different trees. I did an A and a B. I'm trying to remember. I think this was the Haas, and I can't remember. This has more of a thin skin over here. I got a lot of avocados from this last year. It's a little tree, but it really produced a lot of avocados. I probably got 15 avocados off of it. Now we have avocados out in our grove, so I didn't really need it, but I love avocados, and these are the groves that are part of our HOA behind us. And right here, I've got an avocado tree. These are all Haas. And everybody in the association can pick fruit out here. Nobody really does, but anyway, I've got like 4 Haas avocado trees, like kind of right in a row there. So it's super easy to pick avocados and have them for, you know, whenever we need them. We have them for months. And then we've also got oranges out in the grove. Right now, these aren't quite sweet enough. By April, these are going to be absolutely delicious. So I've got a lot of oranges coming. There's a lemon tree right there. I get lots of lemons from that. This is another lemon tree that I have that's out in the groves here. Very few people pick these fruit. I just don't get it. I pick them all the time. I love having all this. And then back here, there's a grapefruit tree. Now, there's no grapefruits right now on it, but when there are, it is just a wonderful, delicious grapefruit tree. But as you can see, there's just tons and tons of orange trees. This is my Hychia persimmon tree. It's also producing a ton of persimmons. Plus, we have a friend who gives us a couple boxes of persimmons every fall. These are the persimmons that you really have to let ripen fully. so that they're not so astringent you can't eat them, but it's a very good fruit tree. This is a Bing cherry tree. It's just a little baby. I'm not expecting any cherries this year. I actually had a Bing cherry tree here, and something happened with my water line and I didn't notice it. It's way out in my yard, and I didn't notice that the tree died. So I just replaced it last year. The Bing cherries were just starting to really produce. Made me kind of sad, but anyway, we'll get Bing cherries again in the next year or two, and they are delicious. This is a Turkish fig tree. I did a lot of cutting back on that this year. I had hundreds of figs this last year. There's no way I could eat them all. I gave a lot of them away, but they're super delicious figs. Well, I'm so glad I came out here. This is the area back behind my pool. I noticed I've also got gophers back here in this beautiful garden area behind my pool. I'm just so disgusted over these gophers. You can't hardly keep them out of your yard with all those orchards behind us. There's tons of gophers back there, and they don't really do anything with them. It's very frustrating. So I planted this lemon tree last year. I know I have lemons, but I love the look of lemon trees, especially when there's lots of lemons hanging from them. So I've got to address these gophers today. I'm just so upset over this. They'll ruin everything out here. They eat the roots and they're just so destructive. But anyway, there's my lemon tree. I don't have much growing anymore out in this winter bed. Almost everything's been harvested, but I do still have a small bed of arugula right here. And I noticed out in my second bed, I've got my daffodils are starting to come up. So I don't have any flowers yet, but all of the daffodils are starting to sprout and come up. They come back every year. And I have them planted right along the middle of my bed. Beautiful. I've also got a hydrangea that's, kind of sitting pretty, waiting for spring. So that's the extent of my garden right now. So thanks for joining me on my garden tour today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go back out there and deal with those gophers out around my pool. I'm so frustrated with them, but thank you so much. I hope it was of interest. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like or a thumbs up and ring the bell for future notifications. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.